Hey, this is Dr. Earl, host of The Breakdown with Dr. Earl, a mental health podcast. And I wanted to stop by today to talk briefly about parenting a child that identifies within the LGBT plus community. So recently, Dwyane Wade and his wife, Gabrielle Union, have been dealing with a lot of controversy around how they have been supporting their daughter, Zaya, in terms of their sexual identity. And so I wanted to talk about this because I think these are conversations that we need to have for a number of reasons. One being that individuals that identify within the LGBT plus community are at a much higher risk in terms of suicide and suicide risk. And so I really do commend parents for being able to deal with the challenges and the stress that comes along with how you respond to your child when they come out as being belonging to the LGBT plus community. So just to review a little bit of data related to this, when we talk about individuals that identify within the LGBT plus community, data from the Trevor Project notes that young adults between ages 18 to 25 are at a much higher risk for suicidal thinking. And so if we look at the number, they are 4 times more likely to report suicidal ideation, which are suicidal thoughts. And individuals who are within the LGBT plus community, also approximately 5% of those individuals attempt suicide in any given year, which is much higher compared to the 1% of their heterosexual peers. And so we know that these are significant issues that need to be addressed, and that we as individuals in society have to really work on allowing people to live their true lives and live their truth. And so I think the way that Dwyane Wade has really handled these situations has really provided a good example for how parents can be supportive of their child, and also how much it's important for parents to really be educated and learn what is the difference between sexual identity versus sexual orientation. So just to briefly talk about what are the differences, sexual orientation is more related to who are you attracted to sexually. So that can be, are you attracted to the same sex or are you attracted to the opposite sex? Whereas gender identity is more about how do you like to be identified in terms of, do you consider yourself to be a male, female, boy, girl? Do you prefer to use pronouns such as he and him, or she and hers? And so those are the differences that oftentimes parents struggle with. How do you communicate that information to those that are close to you? But I think in terms of how do you cope with your child when they come out as being on the LGBTQ spectrum, is that the first thing is that you want to accept them. And that is not always easy because you, again, have this vision of what your child's life is going to be like. And so I think being supportive and allowing that child to be who they are and be able to help them through that process of navigating, dealing with bullying, dealing with acceptance from their peers and from society is going to be a really important step to reduce the likelihood that they may develop mental health challenges such as, depression or having suicidal thoughts. The second thing I think is that you do want to educate yourself. And so there are numerous websites where you can get more information about what are some of the struggles, understanding some of the terminology and language, and also how do you talk about these topics with other people outside of your home and outside of your family. And then I think the third most important tip is that you want to be able to prepare your child to deal with the challenges that they're going to face. How do they deal with, their peers when they may be bullied? Is there an adult that they trust that they can confide in the school system that's going to be able to support them to prevent any potential further bullying in those situations? And also making sure that you don't tolerate negative jokes that are related to sexuality or gender expression. And so as a parent, you have to be that authority figure and speak up and also support your kid through those moments when they may deal with those challenges.